It is my pleasure to greet our esteemed lecturer, Madam Nur Azurin, and to my fellow HR classmates. My name is Nurul Ashkim Zainul Abidin, and today I have the privilege to discuss a critical analysis of a piece of legislation that has brought great change to our labour market, the Gig Workers Act 2025 or Act 872. As we are here in April 2026, we are in a world where the 9 to 5 office job is no longer the only driver for our company economy. For many years, the gig economy in Malaysia has been in a legal no man's land where workers enjoy the freedom they wanted but the security they needed. This leaves a huge problem for us. We have been learning about the intricacies of recruitment, selection, and fee. But as we reflect on today's situation, the final match has changed. We are no longer only recruiting for full-time roles. We are now tasked with safeguarding a large, ever-growing workforce of 1.64 million gig workers across 11 very different industries, those who brings us our food, and the freelancers who help us build our digital future. Act 872, which took effect on March 31, 2026, is not just a new piece of legislation. It is a pioneering move by the Malaysian government. It is a forward-looking initiative to allow the match in the digital era to be dynamic and flexible, but also legal and secure. To see why this legislation is so important to the nation, watch this Bernama report.
More than 1.6 million gig economy workers in Malaysia are expected to benefit from the Gig Workers Act 2025 Act 872, which comes into force today. Human Resources Minister Datuk Sri Aramanan said the law provides clearer legal protections covering service agreements, income rates, social security and dispute resolution mechanisms.
Dengan penguatkuasaan akta ini, wujud proses jelas yang membolehkan pekerja gig mendapatkan keadilan sewajarnya sekira berlaku pertikaian dalam terma dan syarat dalam pekerjaan mereka.
He said the Act requires platform providers to offer clear service agreements and allows gig workers to submit complaints via the e-Aduan system from tomorrow. Complaints can also be lodged at any of the ministry's departments or agencies, with resolution targeted within 21 working days depending on the case. He added that the Act establishes the Gig Consultative Council, a tripartite platform involving the government, gig workers and contractors, to review recommendations on minimum income rates and service standards by sector, with the first meeting scheduled for April 3rd.
As we just saw in the video, the Ministry of Human Resources is keen on enforcing Act 872. In particular, YBM Datuk Seri R. Ramanan, the Deputy Minister of Human Resources, is a champion of this act, stressing that it will give workers a compassionate floor. The inclusion of names such as Datuk Seri R. Ramanan in the video screen serves as a reminder that this is not just human resource development change, it is an economic plan. The video also refers to the digital system backed by the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation to ensure that platform providers connect with Precursor using API. This means, from an HR point of view, the final match is a partnership between the private and the public sectors. As Datuk Seri Aramanan mentioned in his recent press conference, we need to expand from cheap labor to protected talent. This video demonstrates the fact that our work in talent acquisition is now inextricably linked to national compliance and social welfare for 1.64 million Malaysians. As we have seen in the report, the Ministry of Human Resources is keen of enforcing Act 872 In particular, YBM Datuk Seri Aramanan, the Deputy Minister of Human Resources, has been prominent in his views that this act will be a safety net for the vulnerable. But there's a key development to note in the media this month. SOCSO or Perkeso has started a nationwide initiative to encourage all gig workers, not only app workers, to register. They are traveling around Malaysia, setting up pools at delivery centers and public transport stops. This is important because, as YB Charlie Kang said about our digital system, we have the system, but the human factor is not keeping up. SOCSO is appealing to the 1.64 million gig workers to exercise their rights. For HR students, it has to do with Chapter 9. The final match has it demonstrate that communication is a two-way process. The employer needs to offer the system, but the candidate needs to engage in the socialization process as well. This so-called demonstrate that for the final match to be legitimate, we have the worker participate to overcome the 2.1% of workers not registered. As of April 2026, we have only 2.1% of gig workers that are currently registered under the new system. We can get very excited about the selection phase, but this data tells us about the onboarding phase is the key to compliance. This is what we describe as the administrative friction. Some workers find it hard to register or they are multi-platforming, working for 3 or 4 different apps in a week. This leaves them not sure which employer they should cover by. But the impact on the company is dire. According to Act 872, non-registration of an employee or non-payment into their social security network carries with a hefty penalty of up to 50,000 ringgit. More than the loss of money, this is a breakdown of organizational socialization. If we don't induct them properly, we're not only committing a crime, we are violating the psychological contract with our employees. As HR student, it is our plan to make onboarding easier. We must move from paper forms to the auto API system described in Bernama. We need to ensure that our HR system are so efficient that the registration is done the moment the match is met. The time-saving approach will not only save the company from fines, but more importantly, will ensure that the 1.64 million gig workers who power our digital economy are not left out of the statistics. We need to close the 2.1% gap to make the final match official. Let's move on to the legal aspects. Act 872 is groundbreaking because it officially established a third category of labor in Malaysia. From the beginning, our HR books have explained that you are either a full employee with benefits or an independent contractor with a fee. This led to a huge problem of legal misclassification, whereby employers created people as employees but gave them the status of a contractor. Now let's turn to a key element of talent acquisition, the Employee Value Proposition or EVP. We learned in our Chapter 9 research that a successful match happens when the rewards that the organization offers are in perfect alignment with the needs and value of the candidates. Traditionally, the gig economy has been viewed as a low reward industry for job security. But Act 872 alters the rewards we provide as part of the final match by requiring 3 things. First, in Section 22, we have the 7-day payment rule. This is an HR financial reward timing strategy. Gig workers generally have a high daily cost of living, for example, to buy petrol and car maintenance. By using a law to mandate payment within 7 days, we are aligning to the applicant's need for liquidity and cash flow. This takes away anxiety and makes the platform more appealing. Second, we have Section 14 that requires a 1.25% contribution to SOCSO. This is security reward Gig workers are finally not just partners in a gig economy. They are covered by a national social safety net. This addresses the applicant's need for security and future protection against industrial accidents, which is a key component in retention and organizational commitment. Finally, there is the 50% back pay rule. This is a new fairness reward. If an organization suspends a worker and is later found to be in error by the tribunal, the law requires the platform to repay 50% of the worker's average salary for the period of the suspension. From an HR point of view, this ensures that we take our staffing responsibilities. It challenges us to make sure our disciplinary actions are legitimate. By linking these three mandates of speed of pay, social security, and financial fairness, we are building an EVP that transforms the gig economy from short-term employment to long-term career fit. In short, we are relying on legislation to align worker needs with organizational needs. Finally, we need to address the end of the employment relationship, procedural justice. When we think about talent acquisition, we tend to focus on the start of the employment relationship, but in Chapter 9 reminds us that the management and potential termination of the relationship is important for organizational defensibility. The government under Act 872 has set up the e-Aduan portal and the Gig Workers Tribunal. These are not just tools, but checks and balances. The tribunal has a 21 working day turnaround time. Before, an employee who was wrong had little recourse, as civil courts are not affordable. Today, they have a quick and efficient civil courts. This means we in HR need to have pristine disciplinary records and evidence-based management. No more algorithm terminations for us. If we ban a worker without firm evidence of a policy breach, we will not only lose tribunal cases, we will lose reputation. In 2026, candidates can move. Gig workers communicate with each other on social media and discussion forum. If a platform is seen as unjust or unfair, they will go to another. So procedural justice can be used to retain talent. To conclude, my analysis today demonstrates that Act 872 is the link between future flexibility and past protection. It demonstrates that the final mesh in 2026 is not about digital recruitment or a fair wage alone. It needs a focus on justice, a focus on legality, and a forward look to the gig economy as an important source of national talent. As HR students, we must take the lead in this shift by making sure our companies have a digital heart and a human soul for the future. Thank you for your time and bye-bye. And you can find the reference at the end of the slide.